Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and
All right. Did not want to. No idea what that song is about, but how is everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully everyone is staying safe in these tumultuous times. And yeah, I mean, you obviously know the title of the stream. You know what we're here to talk about. Give me 1 second as I can't see here. Let me see here. Maybe I have to call Tyrese again. Let me see if this will work. Alrighty. Tyrese, are you here? He might be here. He might not be here. Let me see here. See, I want to make sure that... There we go. I think we're set. Device, AirPods. Let's see, mic check 1, 2, 2. Okay. Okay, that's working. Tyrese, everything on my end is good. I'm not sure if you're watching from a different part or whatever, but everything on my end is good. I'm not sure if there's anything on your end or not. Tyrese, Yep, everything is good on my side, Tyrese. I'll call you back in a second, I guess, or maybe you're in here now. So you just joined again.
Hello? Okay, there we go. I can hear you now.
All right, perfect. What up, Tyrese?
Holy shit, that's loud.
Not much. You're I'm trying to think of the word. It's the quality of your mic, man. It's insane right now. It's nice.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I got new headphones, so that's probably why.
No, it makes sense. But
holy shit.
Is it loud?
Yeah, I have my volume. Hold on. All right, talk now.
All right, is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good on your end? All right, cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Alrighty, everybody. How is everyone doing today? Hopefully you are enjoying your time. Winding down. The trade deadline is only going to get crazier. Today was kind of the first blood drawn from what seemed like a quiet, trade. Maybe the summer stuff was a little bit hectic because, Westbrook went from DC to LA. Everyone was expecting that to go a different way. Obviously, it hasn't. Obviously, you got James Harden joining the Nets. I believe that was the last year's thing. But nevertheless, it was supposed to be quiet, right? It's supposed to be like maybe Ben Simmons would get traded or not. But there's obviously been some big moves happening around the NBA. And of course, we talked about it, and you can see it here on the screen. Sabonis, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we talk about any of that stuff, hope to see that you guys are doing well. And make sure to please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. So you can get the latest notifications and the latest news and rumors and basketball opinions here on the Charge. Again, I do apologize that I cannot stream any earlier. I have basketball obligations, so this was the time that worked for me, and I think obviously Tyrese as well. And Tyrese is very patient with me, so I do appreciate him there.
No problem.
But nevertheless, we are here to not discuss what happened with my life today. We're here to talk about the big thing that happened today, and that's of course 2 big trades. Tyrese, let us start off with talking about the CJ McCollum trade, because I feel like this one to me, because I feel like this one's a little bit, you could go either way with who won this trade or who lost this trade. In your opinion, Tyrese, let me just really quickly read what the trade was so people can kind of get some context here. The New Orleans Pelicans have agreed to acquire CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, and Tony Snell from the Portland Trail Blazers for Josh Hart, Thomas Sadransky, Nikhil Walker-Alexander, Didi Luzada, a 2022 first-round pick, and 2 future second-round picks. The first-round pick will convey to the Blazers if it lands between number 5 and 14. If it doesn't convey, the pick will become a future first-rounder. The Hawks, Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks were also linked with McCollum. McCollum is on year one of his 3-year deal that he signed at a $100 million extension a couple years back. And of course, Pelicans are attempting to win now despite the uncertainty status of Zion Williamson. So after reading all that, Tyrese, I know that was a mouthful, and I'd rather hear from you right now than hear my own voice at the current moment. What did you make of this trade specifically? I know this one, obviously the Sabonis one got a little bit more of a buzz around the league, but this was also a pretty big deal as well, and we have to talk about it as it was one of the first blood drawn
Blockbusters.
Yeah.
It was one of the first blockbusters. So yeah, I think it's a very I think it shakes up the Pelicans team drastically. CJ McCollum's a 22-point game score, 22 points per game score. So it's kind of like, that's more offense on their end. And then if Zion can come back healthy, I think if everyone's healthy, I think they can potentially be a 6th or 5th seed. I don't know if that's this year, but it could be next year. But I think their future is definitely brighter with CJ on the team now. And as far as the Josh Hart and Nickeil Alexander-Walker going to Portland, and then they have a first-round pick that's 5 to 14 protected for this year. If that doesn't convey, okay. So as far as the Portland Trailblazers, I think they're just trying to get some young guys who can, who they can match with the point guard. What's his name? What's that kid's name?
Anthony?
And Free Simmons. Josh Hart's 25, 26 years old. And, Nickeil Alexander's young. I'm not too familiar with the other two guys, Didi and Thomas. But, they were just trying to get as much as they can. And two, I think they were trying to get some key assets too, because I think they're going to plan on maybe shipping Dame out. I don't know if that's, tonight or tomorrow or summer, but I can't see him staying there for the next 3 or 4 years until he starts breaking down. But I like it for the Pelicans. I think it makes them better. I don't know how better because, Josh Hart was a good playmaker for them, and then they're losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who, a young prospect. But, they're better than what they were. I'll tell you that right now. They're better than what they were. And, if they're all in and they're trying to win, I think they can be a 5th or 6th seed.
Yeah. To an ex-con, shout out to you for chatting, for typing some stuff in the chat. Appreciate it. Trailblazers will trade Dame Dollar for future picks and decent or good player. Yeah, and I think that was the biggest takeaway from this. This has been my opinion. I think Pete is on with me as well about this. We've talked about this since we started the channel. Ever since they went to that Western Conference final with the Warriors, even before then, I really thought that these two guys, they were good together, that being Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum, but I always thought that it was at some point you had to break them up because something wasn't working with the dynamic of those two. And to me, when I see that as kind of as the biggest thing, that to me is where it becomes one of those they sold him a little bit too late, right? You had the 2018 Porsche, Panamera, and you sold that a little bit too late, and now it's not worth as much. And that to me is what happened here with CJ McCollum. I think they got the best value that they could, and I agree with you with that, Tyrese. I think they could have not have gotten any better value because of the fact that he's an aging guard. Getting paid $100 million. If his contract was a little bit less, honestly, if it was like at the 75 to 60 ballpark, I think a lot more teams would have jumped on the CJ McCollum thing. But because it was $100 million, this is basically second tier, or if you're a second team option type of money that you're giving CJ. And at this point in his career, man, I just don't think that it's one of those things that you can really have. I just don't think he can have it. I just think that he's just not there at the current moment. He had a good run, a couple years ago. But right now, I think I'd be curious to see how he develops his game in the Pelicans. Cause the Pelicans right now, I believe let me check.
They're floating around the little 8th or 9th seed or 10th seed, aren't they? Let me see.
Yeah. So
I did see Brandon Ingram say, he feels more comfortable about them getting a playoff position for the play-in. So yeah, they're the 10th spot right now. So
And yeah, that's a playing game.
it's
You're playing the LA. No, I'm sorry. You're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves in that playing game,
Timberwolves.
which is crazy.
Yeah, the
Um,
Timberwolves are on the yeah.
I mean, we can talk a little bit more about them maybe on a different night when we're not talking about
Hmm.
crazy trade rumors. But
Yeah.
my my thing is just the point of, I think the Trailblazers hung on to CJ McCollum a little bit too long, and it's kind of like when you hold on to an asset, whether it's a stock or whether it's cryptocurrency, you want to get rid of the FOMO sometimes, and just be like, oh, we're gonna finally get it, and then ultimately it just doesn't pan out. But in
Yeah, you
terms,
got to take your gains.
take your gains, take your 20% gains, and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Well, again, not financial advice, but going back to the NBA topics at hand, because I know that's what you guys came here for. Colin, you were absolutely right. Chemistry is vital for a deep playoff run. And, I think that this is going to be a big thing for the Pelicans going for, for the future, right? Because like you talked about, Tyrese,
Yeah.
Zion Williams' future is uncertain. Like, we have no idea if he's going to want to
It really
stay.
is.
We have no idea if he wants to stay in, New Orleans. Obviously, rumors is that he's not happy there. So, when I look at that stuff and when I see the sort of situation that I'm noticing with the guy like CJ McCollum,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that you could maybe, convince Zion to stay, but at the same time, I think the Pelicans are in this weird predicament, man. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
it's
I
like,
think, yeah,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Zion, man, I think he just doesn't want to hurt his brand or anything of requesting a trade because he's so young and he's getting all these endorsement deals and he's on commercials with I think it's what Sprite or Mountain Dew and a couple others. So I think he just doesn't want to hurt his brand, but I think he wants out of there. I don't think he's as hurt as people or athletic trainers are saying. I think he's trying to force his way out, but knowing the New Orleans Pelicans franchise with who's the guy, David Griffin now? When they were
Yeah,
trying to get rid of AD, they were saying stuff like we wouldn't trade AD for Beyonce. So it's kind of like they're not gonna let go of this kid unless they get the whole team. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I'm pretty sure they let Zion know that like we're not gonna give you up for pennies. Like we're gonna whatever team gets you, we want pretty much their best five starting players.
mm-hmm.
So I think for the Pelicans, I think it's kind of an insurance policy too. I think for as far as because they don't know what Zion's going to do, they don't know what Brandon Ingram's going to do because Brandon Ingram might want out of there for all we know, right?
Yeah,
So at this point with CJ, I think he's more, he's about to have his son or his
mm-hmm.
yeah, I think he's about to have a kid. So he's a little older now, and I don't
Right.
think he's really too inclined on winning a championship at this point in his career at 30. I mean, if he was really so much trying to push for one, he would have went somewhere 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to settle somewhere to where he can probably be the guy and maybe get one more close to
Mm-hmm.
max deal north of 120, 30 million a year. I mean, the Pelicans would give it to him if they clean the house. If Zion goes and Brandon Ingram goes somewhere, demands a trade. So I think it's just a demand. I think it's just an insurance policy, because they still have to sell tickets. I mean, most of the time that arena is empty.
Yeah. No.
Smoothie King's empty. So you know what I'm saying? They're trying to get some type of excitement back. This is the most excitement they had since going after DeMarcus Cousins when AD was there, right? So
Yeah.
and they're close to a 10th spot, try to get into the playoffs. So it's interesting. I mean, this is the best the Pelicans can do, man, because I mean, no one's gonna go to New Orleans. Like, who the hell wants to go to New Orleans? It's not a great market, you know. So I think it's just they have to be kind of all in. This is the best chance they're gonna get
Yeah.
if they want to get to the playoffs with Zion if he comes back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And let me just kind of read some comments that the ex-con left here. He said Zion wants to go to the Knicks. He's taking a page from Charles Barkley. He's intentionally being overweight, and the family has even spoken out on. Zion is gone. Ingram is balling right now. He's the face right now. Don't think he wants to leave. just a better team around him. And to kind of address Khan's points, I mean, wow, hoping for a Westbrook trade. I want to talk about that a little bit, X-Con. That's interesting. That's an interesting take.
That's crazy. Yeah, we could talk about that later. Let's talk
Um,
about that.
but I mean, obviously, when it comes to the Zion stuff, we all know that Zion. I think there's a little bit of embellishment on some of the injuries. I'm not going to call him out and say like, oh, he's faking it, but I do think there's a little bit of an
Yeah,
embellishment, and you can see it in his body. He's not taking care of
right.
himself
Like,
with
yeah,
nutrition, and it's frustrating as a Pelicans fan or even just a fan of Zion himself. The fact that he's a a rising star player. People have already kind of crowned him a superstar. But the problem is that the weight on his body is just he's not going to be able to maintain it when he plays in a game. Like there's a reason why he was huffing and puffing, and it's like I think the biggest thing is that I think he could have done something with this organization. There's a reason why they draft you. I just think it what sucks is that I feel like I'm not going to blame Ben Simmons per se, but I do think that the player power and the player empowerment movement that has been going on has led to this point where we're at right now. And again, I'm all for the players. As soon as your contract is done, you get to choose wherever you want to go. Like I'm all for that.
right.
But
Yeah, get your
now
bag.
I'm all about players getting their badge because it's such a short career, and you try to get
Right.
the most that you can. But what is frustrating at times is that now you got guys like Ben Simmons and Zion Williamson, more specifically, not wanting to play out their contracts. You signed these contracts for a reason, and the fact that you are not going to oblige or honor them, to the best of your ability, is crazy. And I think
Yeah.
as much as I love Zion and what I think he could do or what he could be as a future player, I just think that this is just a bad look to the game right now, and really makes a guy like Adam Silver, who is very player friendly as a commissioner, a little bit foolish at times. And again, I know this does not have anything to do with the trade, but
Yeah.
I
No,
just I
you got
had
to
to
talk about it.
you got to talk about it at times, and I know that this is kind of coming from out of nowhere. But again, I think that when it comes to Zion, that is my biggest gripe is that like look, play out your contract, see how it is, and
Mhm.
if you don't like New Orleans in the years that you played, there's a reason why there's like that extension, and it's like I'd rather you just like because the thing is like I think the Pelicans would actually give Zion what he wants in terms of like, oh, I want you to trade for this person or try to at least trade. I mean, they have the assets to do it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. I think they'll give Zion whatever he wants. I think Zion he can get a $250 million contract if he wanted to, right? When
yeah,
his rookie deal's up. But
yeah,
at this point, I don't think he cares about the money. I mean, he's probably making north of $20 million a year at 21 and getting all these endorsements. And so I think it's more about the players around. That's why I think they went after CJ because they're trying to keep Zion happy. That's
yeah.
what I think. And they're kind of in striking distance right now because who knows how they're going to look 1 year, 2 years out from now. They
Hmm.
might not never even get to it. Who knows how long this little tournament's going to be around for? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So this could be the last season where a 10th seed can get in.
Hmm.
So they're kind of just trying to go all in because it's a small cap market. I mean,
Right.
so I think this move was based off of Zion and how Ingram's playing. So yeah, I think you're right. We have to talk about Zion because I think a lot of this trade is centered around him too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And then to go to your Blazers point, you were exactly right. This is now Anthony Simon's team. I think Damian
yeah,
Lillard is going to be leaving very soon. I could see it happening, this coming week. I could see a big trade happening. It depends on what team has the
you could see him
assets.
gone tomorrow.
I think I could. I mean, the way that the way the Blazers have been moving, I would not be surprised. They're like, you know what, we're just gonna move on and try to build around Anthony Simons. I think to me, the biggest thing that when I look at it, a guy like Dame Lillard, I know he's very prideful. He's hubris, right? He
Mm,
wants to be a guy that's like, I did it here in Portland where no other player's done it before. The problem is that you're gonna need
that doesn't work.
you need the role players and the teammates around you to make that work. And as much as you want to be solo dolo, the problem with basketball, or maybe not the problem, the beauty of basketball is that you actually need a lot more than just yourself. You need four other teammates along with yourself to win the games. And, I think that this is definitely a move where the Blazers are like, we did everything we could with this group, and I think we just need to blow it up and try again in a couple years when we have a guy like Anthony Simons, who is now a little bit older, a little bit stronger, more mature, especially because they drafted him basically as an 18-year-old.
Yeah. It's
Which,
crazy, right? Like he's been in the league for 3 years already since he was 18. Or
so
4 years now. Yeah.
So I think they need to start making moves and try to build a team around him. I mean, there's a lot of great guys in this draft coming up, and the Portland Trailblazers at this current point, I believe, are the 11th seed. They're still within striking distance of the playing game, but at this point, now you have to compete with the teams like the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, the Spurs, the Kings, and like finding a way to get that like top pick so you can get a guy like Chet or Jabari Smith or Paulo Banchero or AJ Griffin or any of these other players, the kid from Arizona as well. So I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people are going to be looking for for this trade.
Yeah, I think, Dame, to go back to what you were saying, I think the solo dolo thing is just him putting on a front. I think he's
so?
not trying to hurt his. Yeah, I think so. Come on. I got friends from Oakland, and he's a smart guy. He knows how to critique himself well and the right things to say and the things not to say. He knows if he would come out and say, "Hey, like I don't want to be here," that's not good as far as his branding, right?
Yeah.
That's not. He won't be able to get on commercials. He won't be able to go with another Toyota commercial, right? If he's acting like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
So he's a smart guy, So I think I think he wants out clearly.
Yeah.
I think the thing is who would try to go after him, right? Like, would it be the Lakers? Would it be? I don't know, right? Because I don't know who would go after him, but I think as far as this trade of what we were talking about with CJ, I think they pretty much just, they were just trying to get as many assets as they can, just in case if they do trade Dame, they have some pieces to send out and, to package and stuff. Some guys might stay, but the Larry Nance and what's the other kid's name? He's not going to make them any better. Without Dame, they're a lottery team. They might as well just ship him off tonight or tomorrow, and they can fight for a first round pick, and build with Simon. But I think Portland's infrastructure is it's crumbling down now with CJ gone, and they got Nurkic there. They're going to probably unload him and get some pieces, some draft picks, some assets. But
yeah,
their castle's burning down, man, slowly but surely.
Exactly. XCon, let me read some of your comments before we continue on for this topic. He is not staying, trying to figure the way out. You said no one wants to play New Orleans. Dame is gone. They're making moves of a rebuild. LeBron has changed the game because he's trading half his roster away and getting good players for little. The league is now moving away from this, and now we're seeing this happen now. The play-in tournament is an Achilles heel. Good to see lower teams get a chance. We all know they created this so LeBron could make the playoffs if his team falls apart. New York has an interest in Zion, and Larry Nance is a solid role player. XCon, can I ask you a question? Are you a Knicks fan by any chance? You and my boy
saying
Pete.
That for like a year and a half or 2 years now, Zion to the Knicks. It's not going to happen.
I mean, the only way it happens is if you're getting, unless like
who would the Pelicans want? Julius Randle? Like, come on, let's just be real now. Like, he's not gonna move the needle. Like, he's probably gonna win out of New Orleans. They're not getting the Knicks. They have a better shot of getting Kyrie Irving or something like that than getting Zion Williamson. They have a better shot of getting Kyrie Irving, who's right up the street, than Zion. That's not gonna happen unless Zion signs with him. Yeah, and that's different.
Diehard Knicks fan. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't blame you, man. Like, I think that the Knicks really got screwed over in their lottery selection, but I still think you have like a decent team. Not saying that you have like the greatest team. But obviously, you want to make moves in order to like
They
get
need a new
from
coach.
who's
Tibbs isn't doing it for him, man. Like I just think Julius Randle and a lot of the guys on the team are just tired of Tibbs' shit.
well, I mean, that's
I think they need a new voice.
so he said Zion himself. I'm sorry, I think it's coming in really quick. I just cannot read it on this on the because I don't have I have a white background, which is just not very
Uh,
smart on my part. But oh shoot, must have hit it. Zion himself said he wanted to play for the Knicks, but we don't have the assets for a trade. Yeah, I mean that's just what it comes down to. I think that you should be banking on, being a solid team. I think that this is probably the right way to do it. I mean, the Cavaliers, maybe not the Cavs. Cavs are in a good one. The Spurs.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Spurs are a good one because they were able to, they got DeJounte Murray and were able to get some good pieces. So I don't think that there is issues there. But to kind of go back to the trade between these two teams, I think the biggest thing for me is I don't think that this was necessarily a huge like dub. This wasn't a huge win, right? This wasn't a trade that like dramatically changes, maybe dramatically changes the Blazers in terms of what they're trying to do. But at the end of the day, the Blazers realize that they're not winning a championship anytime soon, and they might as well trade CJ McCollum and start building a team around Anthony Simons. Whereas you look at the trade for the Pelicans perspective, I mean, you add a aging guard who, is still a very good guard. You obviously get rid of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I believe the player... Now, who did they drafted this kid? I can't remember, was it before or after Lonzo?
Who? What
I need to
was
look.
team? Pelicans?
Yeah, I need to see if this was the guy.
Alexander?
I think it wasn't Alexander. I think it was who was the other Alabama point guard? Kira something. Let's see
Hmm.
here. Let me see if I can find. Let me look at the Pelicans roster because to me it's like they should have just re-signed Lonzo. To me, it was just
Yeah, but
foolish.
they can't, man. Like I know like it's a no-brainer like from our perspective, but these guys don't want to be in small cap cities. Like they want endorsement deals. They want to make money off the court. Like
Hmm.
they don't want to be inside the Smoothie King arena, you know, like getting free smoothies every game. Like they're trying to make millions of dollars off the court, and it's just not that.
Yeah.
Unless you're like the key cornerstone guy, like if everyone dips in 3 years and Brandon
Yeah.
Ingram's a guy and he can get 250 million, that's cool, but he's not going to win. But he
Hmm.
gets his money. But
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, man, they want more than just the money because they have enough. Like, how much money do you need? You're getting tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
So the point guard that they got was Kira Lewis Jr. That was the guy that they drafted this year, and I was like, yeah, he's gone. Um, that
mhm.
being Alonzo. But again, like the biggest thing for me, like like I said, it wasn't a huge win for the Pelicans, other than it assures them that like if Zion leaves, they're not totally screwed. In terms of like
No, they're
having
not.
just having assets and being like, okay, whether he leaves or goes, we still have a chance to maybe have, if he leaves or if he stays, you have another great kind of shot creator in CJ McCollum. Um, Again, I'm talking about this in a business perspective, so I know a lot of people. His game is amazing. I'm not trying to take anything
Yeah,
away from CJ,
from a business perspective,
but
yes.
business perspective and like a trade perspective, you want that kind of veteran leadership, and I feel like that's what CJ can bring. Especially if Zion stays, this team could be dangerous in a year, like you said, Tyrese. But if it doesn't
Do
work
you, do
out,
you think do you think he really has a veteran leadership vocal voice though? I just don't never I never seen that from
he gives
CJ. I don't think he really moves the needle.
he gives me the Tayshaun Prince type of work ethic and attitude. Like he's not a guy that's gonna like
Yeah,
go.
but I feel like these guys don't need urgency to try to play better. They need vocal leadership to stay consistent. And to not give up. He's not that kind of guy. I honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see if they're in the same position. To be honest,
Uh,
because now that I think about it, he's not really a vocal leader like a Marcus Smart or even like a Dame. A Dame, he would gather the team around and say, we got to close this, or talk to the teammates and try to
Hmm.
comfort him. Like I've never seen that CJ. Like he's never been that type of. Yeah, he can play on the court, but Brandon Ingram and Zion, they ball, man. They're not scrubs. They're better than him. So arguably, so I mean, I don't know, man. Like now that I think about it, it's like I think they need vocal leadership more than like showing it on the court type of leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to some extent with that, but I think CJ McCollum is too good of like a scoring guard and shot creator to like have him not be like, I think at the end of the day, I think the Pelicans win based on the fact that I think that they got some pretty good pieces
Yeah, they won,
back.
but not like drastically. I don't think. Like,
No, it obviously wasn't like a huge win, right? It wasn't like a 20-point victory. This was like you won by 2. And it was a nice solid, you know,
but
you got it was a toss up. I mean, again, you never know what happens with this pick, right? This future first round pick could be the player that makes the Blazers an NBA championship contender in the next couple years. You never know, and that's
yeah,
that's why they call it the
and two,
lottery.
we can't really just say like the Pelicans on some. Who knows? They might get Cat next year or something like that. He might want to team up in New Orleans. Who knows? Some of these guys, if Zion can stay healthy and stay in shape, and they're looking promising, and Brandon Ingram's there, they
Hmm.
might go over the luxury tax. I mean, what the hell does New Orleans have to lose, right? They'll go over the luxury tax and have a $500 million payroll if they can get to a 4th seed and have a shot at
Hmm.
the East Western Conference. Like, who knows who
Exactly.
will sign with them? So
Ex- Exactly. And the biggest thing to like the biggest takeaway is like we don't know at this point. And we're gonna see what happens with this trade. I mean, I think initially the Blazers are building for Anthony Simons. I think clear what we can say is that the Blazers are building for Anthony Simons to be the future player or superstar on their team, and the Pelicans are trying to sign players to fit around Zion, and if he leaves, fit around Brandon
mhm.
Ingram, and that's like as clear as day. So we'll see tonight. The Pelicans beat the Rockets tonight, 110-97. Brandon Ingram, 26 points. I mean, we'll see what happens, man. This is going to be a fun, interesting scenario. So let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the CJ McCollum trade to New Orleans? Is it a win for the Pelicans? Is it a win for the Blazers? Who was the biggest winner and loser of that trade? And let us know, was it a close trade or do you think that one team clearly won the trade? Let us know in the comment section down below. Alrighty. I think it's time to move on, Tyrese, to probably one of the weirdest trades that I would say.
Which one was that?
I would say that this is one of the weirdest ones because we talked about
Oh,
it. We talked
yeah.
about it, I believe, a couple nights, and it ruined the video that I had out today. I was gonna put out our Sabonis to the Warriors video, and I did, and ultimately that video basically got canceled or null and void because of the fact that he got traded this morning. But
Yeah.
this to me was the biggest one. And that was, of course, Pacers trade Demonatis Sabonis to the Kings for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. This trade is a trade for Demonatis Sabonis to Sacramento Kings for a package centered around Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers are including Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2027 second round pick in exchange for Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Jeez. The Sacramento backcourt is now less crowded in the De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell. Indiana was poised to split up their big man pairing of Sabonis and Miles Turner this season. Sabonis was widely considered to have a significant more trade value than Turner. The Pacers previously traded away Karis LeVert. We already know about that. And now have a revamped backcourt of Halliburton, Malcolm Brogdon, and Chris Duarte. The league was stunned by this trade, said Adrian Wojnarowski. Wojnarowski added that other teams didn't realize Halliburton was available. I'm told he was stunned today, said Wojnarowski of Halliburton. And I saw that video of Sabonis to the Warriors. Yeah, XCon. I mean, it was supposed to be like, hype, and then it ended up being nothing. But going back to this trade, Tyrese, and I'll let you go first before I go.
Okay.
What did you make of this trade, and are you surprised that it happened? And really, for the obviously Adrian Wojnarowski talked about it. He talked about how Halliburton was stunned by this trade. So, what is your opinion of this?
My opinion of it is, I think the Pacers won this trade. I think Tyrese Halliburton was just kind of let down because I think there was a video that surfaced like a week ago or something like that. He was saying that he wanted to be the like help the Kings franchise and
Mm-hmm.
whatever it takes, and then he gets traded the next week. But I think the Pacers clearly won this trade. Tyrese Halliburton is very young still, only what 21, 22 years old. And then Buddy Hield's what 25, 26. Tristan Thompson, I mean, he's a good hustle player, wild card type of guy. Doesn't really move the needle, but he's a good piece, I guess.
Yeah, I want him off the team. I wouldn't even want him on the team for all this baby
uh,
mama drama, man. You just can't. You can't have it on the team, man.
yeah, that's true. But sometimes, he could do some good hustle plays.
He's hustling
Um,
in the wrong place, man.
okay, but yeah, as far as the Kings getting Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and Sabonis, I don't like it for the Kings per se. I think the owner made a big mistake. I just don't see why they would do that. I
Hmm.
understand, like maybe they just wanted to see a new face and maybe get an all-star, but it's kind of like it doesn't really move the needle for them as much as the Pacers, to be honest, because they got two guys who got more upside to me than Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday, right? Because we already know what Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday are now. Like at least Buddy Hill still kind of has a ceiling to him a little bit, right? Like,
Hmm.
and Tyrese Halliburton is freaking young, so who knows? He can be a top five guard in the next 3 years for all we know. So I think the Pacers won this trade. Yeah, I don't like I don't like this for the Kings at all. Sabonis is a great center. Don't get me wrong, but Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb are good, but it doesn't move the needle for them. To be honest, they're still going to be the same Kings team, um, and the Pacers got better. To be honest, I think they'll be a playoff team in maybe the next 2 to 3 years. Uh,
Hmm.
with Tyrese Halliburton getting more experience, I think he can be a top five point guard. I think in the future.
Yeah, I mean, like if we look at like from StatMuse, he talked about this. The last 24 hours. He's averaging 17.3 points per game. That is Tyrese Halliburton. 17.3
Mm-hmm.
points per game, 9.4 assists, a 2.6 turnover a game, and he's 43, 43, and 87%. Like from field goal to 3 point to 87% from the free throw line. He's a career 41% shooter from the three. To me, I think
And like,
the Kings made probably this to me is just as dumb as them not selecting Luka Doncic when they had the chance to select him. I cannot believe the fact that the Kings basically got rid of a young guard that I
yeah,
believe could really change that franchise around. I was a huge believer in him in the draft. And the fact that, to me, it's like you got rid of a great point guard. I mean, he's one of the best at ISOs. I think he's like in the top five. I'll have to look
mm-hmm.
the stat up for that. And to me, like, I think everyone around the league is just shocked. And I didn't really kind of get a pulse of what the league or what people on Twitter were saying. But I could believe that they're shocked because, again, nobody thought that this kid was on the trade block. You just drafted him
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ago, looking to see like what you can make of him. And to be honest with you, I thought De'Aaron Fox was the more reasonable guy to let go because it obviously
Mm-hmm.
hasn't worked out with him, and you can now have a Tyrese and Davion Mitchell backcourt. It's because I mean, think about this as well. Tyrese Halliburton is a tall guard, whereas both Davion
Six
Mitchell and
five.
both Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox are more of on the smaller side of guards. And to me, it's one of those things I look at it, and from that perspective, it's frustrating. Um,
Yeah.
I go ahead.
No, yeah, it really is frustrating because it's like, why the hell would you guys do that? But then again, that's the Kings owner, man. Like this guy, he didn't even get like he wasn't a key guy taking the ball up the court. He had to split with Darian Fox, and Buddy Hill was even bringing up
Hmm.
the ball up the court. He was getting 14. Imagine with him on the Pacers, he's going to average 22, 23 points a game.
Exactly. And to
So I think that that was a stupid trade by the Kings owner, man. And the fans with the Kings were just going ballistic on their Reddit board. They're just let down. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense, man. But there, then again, that's that owner, man. He just doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah. And it's like the Kings are going to stay the Kings. You know, they haven't been great since those 2003, 2002 teams with Chris Webber, Stojakovic, and all those guys. Like, they haven't been good since then. And the fact that they keeps making the same mistakes over and over again, it's dumb. And I'm going to get passionate about it because basically, you know, you already have a guy in Marcus and Bagley.
Yeah, Marvin Bagley.
Like, you know, you thought that was going to be your Sabonis, and basically you got your Sabonis now, but you got rid of all the assets that would make Sabonis a much better player for the Sacramento. And I know Sacramento, they're trying to fight for this, you know, playoff position and try to, you know, be in the playing game and all this other stuff. I think right now, as it currently stands, that they are not in there. You know, they're 2 games back. To me, like, I look at it and it makes no sense. You know, and I love Sabonis. You know, I wanted the Celtics to trade for him, but like in terms of like what is going to make the Sacramento Kings better, it definitely wasn't trading away Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and those 2 players specifically. Like trading them away, Sabonis is ceiling over Halliburton's. Not on this team, Sean. I don't think so, man. I know you're a Gonzaga fan and you'll always root for him, but not with this team. But to go back to it, you know, the Sacramento Kings, they don't, like, as much as I love Sabonis, they're not surrounding him with great talent in terms of like a whole cohesive team. I still think that they're missing some great pieces out there. And the Sacramento Kings are going to Sacramento Kings. I mean, they keep making the same foolish mistakes over and over again, and it will keep haunting them because they have yet to take a guy. You know, Luka Doncic was supposed to be the guy that they were supposed to take. They didn't take him. They took Bagley. We all know that was probably clearly the wrong move.
Clearly the wrong move.
And now you're kind of just stuck with this team that you don't know, like, as much. And like I said, I love Sabonis. I champion, I stan him. Like I said, I want him to come to the Celtics, but at the same time, I have to be realistic with where the Kings are at. And he's just not a piece that I think they need to add. I think they just need to stay the course with this young team. I don't understand why there need to be a huge shakeup for it. And you know, like I talked about, Sean, he's not overrated. I'm sorry, man. He's a really good point guard, great guard, 6'5", handles. Like, sorry, Sean, he's not overrated.
Come on, like this. Come on, this. He hasn't even scratched the surface yet of being like surprisingly good yet. Like he's gonna be good, man. Like the Pacers are gonna be great for the next 10 years if they hold on to him. I'll say that more than Sabonis. I mean, Sabonis is cool, but I mean, you need a point guard in this league to make, you know, get flow of your offense and set it up. I mean, you can't have a center. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna move the needle. And just the culture alone in Sacramento, it's nothing, you know, to where it's going to be like, oh, yeah, we got him. Like, let's do great next year. Like, the culture's never been there in Sacramento. It's never has since they had Weber in 2003 and 04. So, I mean, go figure. But I just think man, they're going to be back to the same old Kings. Like nothing. The only thing they got was an all-star. if that's what the owner wanted so bad. I mean, what, a 2-time all-star? But it's not going to result to wins. It's not like you're getting an Anthony Davis type or anything. I mean, he's a solid center, but he's not like game-changing. Let's just be real. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Sabonis is a good center, man, but he's not like an Anthony Davis type to where he can get you 35 and 20 rebounds. Like, he can't.
Yeah. And the biggest question mark for me that's going to come from this trade as well is that, you know, Miles Turner still wants to trade. He doesn't want to stay with the Indiana Pacers. And so, you know.
And they're still not letting him go. I don't know why they're not letting him go.
So we're gonna see what happens with that one, man. Like I said, I think that the Pacers, they were like, what's weird to me is that, you know, or not weird, but it's interesting. You know, they wanted to rebuild. Obviously, they got their young guard now. They got they got their core, right. They got Duarte, they got Brogdon, And really, it really makes honestly Brogdon expendable if you want to trade him away and maybe add another piece that you like as like a more of like a forward, small forward shooting guard position wise, or I mean maybe more small forward. Um, Kings are going to land Jaden Ivey and be set. Well, it's like you get rid of Halliburton and you bring in Jaden Ivey, and you're in the same position, Sean. Like you're replacing a young guard with another young guard, when really I think time is what the Kings needed more so than ever. What they really need to do now is draft the right center and draft the right power forward to help them. Like
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley is just not it. And more so he's getting beefs with De'Aaron Fox's dad. Dad battle out there. And again, I think like as much as I think that Sabonis would have, to me it's like I don't understand why these other teams didn't go for Sabonis, and obviously I think
It's
that
because his style of game, I think. I honestly do think it's his style of game. I mean, he can't really hit down shots like an Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns or Joel Embiid. He's kind of a more inside interior guy. He can't really stretch the floor. I think that's one reason why he's kind of like an old school center. And a lot of teams are trying to go towards that stretch, even like a Daniel Tice or, you know, guys who can knock down some shots, man, or Al Horford, undersized, a little bit,
Mhm.
but they're trying to go for centers like that. I think that's why he was untouched. Now, if he had a shot in like a mid jumper or something, I think he would have been. There would have been a lot of teams trying to go after him, but I think that's the reason why he's kind of like an old school center. I mean, he can play okay defense. He's a pretty good rebounder. But I mean, he's not like an Anthony Davis type or Joel Embiid or, he can't hit jumpers.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave him open if he has to take a shot. You're gonna leave him open. You don't care about him like shooting shots. And I think a lot of key contending teams they don't want that. They want guys who can stretch.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll
Sean,
see.
To go to your point, I do like Rashawn Holmes, but he's more of like a role player, and Marvin Bagley, you were drafting him to like be the guy, right? And so that didn't happen, and that's kind of where the Kings are at. And look, I will disagree with you, Tyrese. I do think that he can shoot. Obviously, he's averaged about his career in 3-point percentage and field goal percentage. And I think what makes him a little bit harder sometimes is that obviously they need to get him the ball down the post, and he doesn't play within the flow. And really, we'll see what role he'll have in Sacramento, right? Because now you have a point guard that. And De'Aaron Fox is more of a speed guy, maybe get more Sabonis pick and roll action going on, and let him just kind of be a powerhouse down low. Sean, you
I
said
mean,
Jaden.
he's not too off from Marvin Bagley. I mean, he's just a physical guy inside who's a hassle to try to contain when he's getting rebounds, and he's gonna get fouled and probably go to the line like 10 times a night, and he's gonna get about 7 8 points, get about 6 points by himself, or 8 points, get 16, probably 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds. Like he's not really a game changer. I mean, he's a solid center because he's so physical inside. But I mean, he by any means is like a Joel Embiid where he can hit like 6 jumpers in a row, or Anthony Davis like 6 jumpers in a row. If you had to get 6 jumpers from your center, like he's not that. He's never has been that. I
Yeah.
think that's why and same with like Marvin Bagley. Like he's not they're all three of them are Sean Holmes. They're old school type centers.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Nothing
mean,
wrong with that, but a lot of teams, at least the teams that we have, unless you got three superstars, you need a guy. Look at Giannis; he's even extended his game because he knows he has to shoot. He's shooting
yeah.
better now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I do think that Sabonis is a all star type of player, and at the end of the day, the Kings did get an all star. But I think the problem is that they got rid of a young guy way too soon. They probably could have gotten him for way less, and they overshot their shot basically, and paid the bag for Sabonis, when really I did think you need some of those guys. Like I understand Buddy Hield was not happy there, and maybe they were trying to more so center it on Buddy Hield, but I think maybe the Horton Tucker first round pick and Austin Reeves wasn't going to cut it for the Kings, and that's why they went with the Pacers trade instead. It just seems that way in my opinion, but again, like I really want to root for Sabonis. I really want to make sure that support him because I do think he's a great player. The problem is that I think he's going to get forgotten in Sacramento the way that he was forgotten in Oklahoma City Thunder when he was really improving and getting better as a young center. And I just think that when you go to Sacramento, it's kind of like especially the way that the culture is in Sacramento. There's no culture. There's no foundation there. There's no foundation there for those young guys to be like, look at the past. Like, look at how this team was built. Look at how we were built. We were so different back then. Like, to me, there's just none of that at the current moment. And so, you're hoping that Sabonis can be that game changer, and you're hoping that like he can be like what you wanted Marvin Bagley to be in your offense. And maybe that works for them. But at the end of the day, you still got rid of a young guard, and I think that was the wrong young guard to get rid of. And now we're going to see the repercussions of it. I think at the end of the day, the Pacers made themselves a better team and made themselves a team for the future that you could see and really be like, okay, this team is really ready to contend in a couple years. Because like I talked about years ago, or like a couple years ago, the owner was wanting to make sure that this team was an NBA Finals team or they're going to rebuild. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sean, you said the Pacers have too many guards now. Who's going to sit on the bench out of Brogdon, Halliburton, Hield, and Duarte? I mean, the thing is that now you have like so many options, right? You obviously you're going to start Halliburton. I think you're going to start Brogdon. You bring Heel off the bench and Duarte off the bench as well. I think that those are two like solid. I think Duarte might play a 3. You might have to play 3 guards in the lineup, and then have Hield come off the bench.
Yeah, that means they're going to have to keep Miles Turner then, even if he wants to get out of there, because they're going to be super small. I mean, They have Tristan Thompson, but I mean, he's undersized and he can't really get rebounds.
He's busy dealing with trying to get trying to get Chloe back, man. He's trying to find in Schema's way to get Chloe back. I mean, that's basically what he's been doing.
Kid, man.
I mean, that's basically what I discount Tristan Thompson. I think he's gonna get cut, and I think he's gonna sign with a contending team.
He might even go to the Lakers for all we damn know, but LeBron. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the right move for his career, with all his drama that he's dealing with. But nevertheless, like I said, I think that we're gonna really find out in the next couple months like what the plan is for both these teams. I'm really curious about what the Kings' plan is because again,
honestly.
The only thing is like I love Sabonis. Like I said, I want the Celtics to get him, but at the end of the day, I don't think Sabonis is gonna really move the needle in the way that the Kings would want, and I think that they're gonna be the same old Kings because I think that when I look at De'Aaron Fox, I don't think he's improved enough to where I'm like, okay, maybe there's an extra level that De'Aaron Fox can go. I think we've kind of seen what De'Aaron Fox is at this point. Not saying that he can't change his game, but I do think that we've kind of seen where he's at in his career right now, and I think that's where he's going to stay.
I think the Kings, man, they were better off going all in and trying to get someone like Dame, even though he's 31. Like they would have been able to maybe even get like a mid-level type player to go with them in the offseason or something. Mm-hmm. But they should have just went all in for a young guy like a Zion and just unloaded everyone because they're never going to get to the playoffs, man. Let's just be real. Unless something crazily happens and they extend it to 12 teams, they're not going to go to the playoffs. They were better off putting their chips all on the table and going after a superstar, honestly.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be an interesting thing to see like how this team will develop and grow for both these teams. And then XCon, you say Pacers will be a playoff team for sure. Sean, you're talking about the Celtics messed up not getting Sabonis. I mean, we've talked about this before. I wanted him on the team. I think we did.
Yeah,
man.
but what would we do with Rob Williams though? Like that would eat into Rob, and he's way more athletic. Sabonis can't block shots like Rob and deflections, and
True,
half
but
point
but you've been
blocks.
you've
Like,
been you've been on the show. You talked about how you wanted someone inside to score the rock, and
oh yeah,
Sabonis
for sure. But I'm
and
just
Sabonis
saying,
is that
like,
guy.
it. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, he. See, if we were to get him, it's the chemistry too. Like, he's slower than I don't. I wouldn't say that. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how he would gel with the Jays and Smart and just culturally. I think Rob Williams is a good fit for Tatum and Brown because they've been playing together for some years.
Yeah.
But if they were to get him on something cheap, then yeah. But they were probably asking for too much. They probably wanted like Smart and freaking someone else and probably a
Yeah.
first rounder.
Yeah. And let's kind of end the night, Tyrese, because I do have to go because I got work in the morning. But let's talk about this Bradley Beal thing, and I'm going to include this part in the Sabonis thing, just so it's a longer podcast. So if you guys listen to the separate clips when I separate them, like this is going to be one of the ones that you'll be able to watch. But let's talk about Bradley Beal really quick. Bradley Beal to undergo season-ending surgery on the left wrist. Sean, I know that you're a big Wizards fan, so I have to give you some Wizards news here. Bradley Beal plans to undergo season-ending surgery on his left wrist. He has a torn scaphoidal ligament in the wrist. Beal will enter the offseason as a free agent, has an uncertainty on his future for the Washington Wizards. Beal can sign a 5-year, $240 million with the Wizards or $180 million with a rival team. Despite the last 10 days of getting intensive treatment and rehab on my wrist, it became clear that I could not compete to my standards or the levels that our team and our fans deserve, said Beal. I'm disappointed not having my season end this way, but we all agree that this was the best decision. I look forward to coming back 100%, leading this team and to work and to build towards the future. AKA, he's gone. Sayonara. He's out of there. He's not coming back. Like, I think that, without Bradley Beal, I think that this Wizards team is on a different timeline. It always has been on a different timeline. I think, Sean, the biggest takeaway that I could say for you as a Wizards fan now is I think look forward to building in this draft. Because right now, if we look at the standings, you are, vying in and trying to get into that last playoff game. I think that you needed to make a move for another player, another kind of superstar player. I think you have the assets to do that. The question is, where did the Wizards go from here? Like, do they try to trade the rights to Bradley Beal before this trade deadline and, the team just accepts that he's not going to be able to play the season and just resign there? But I do think that you need to start shipping off some of the guys that are not going to stay with your team for very long. Like, I think KCP is one of those players. Honestly, think Montrezl Harrell is one of those players as well. Like, you just got to get rid of those guys and try to hopefully get some nice pieces in return. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you have what you got for us, Tyrese?
I was just gonna say, as far as how you said he's out of there and stuff like that, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it's the Wizards, man. Like, it just, I don't know. Do I expect him to stay? No, I think he's out of there. I, th- I don't know. Like, maybe they should give him his rights, but then again, I don't know. Like, it's the Wizards. Like, their organization and their infrastructure it's not great. So,
Yeah,
um,
but I will say that this team does have some exciting pieces. I think that this team could, you know, maybe
yeah, I
be
mean,
one
they
of those
have.
those lower teams that could maybe sneak in the playoffs. We didn't expect the Cavs this year, right, to be like that team. I think the Wizards were on their way to being that team, and then once Bradley Beal got hurt, it was over. And to me, when I look at this stuff and when I'm seeing here on the at the standings, I think that they did have a chance, but I think they kind of blew it, and now they're gonna kind of regress. And go back a little bit. They have Rui Hachimura, who is yet to really be featured for this team. They have a bunch of guys. I think that there is some good players. The problem is, of course, you need that superstar. You can have a bunch of nice players on your team, but you need that superstar in the NBA. It's a lot different than any other sport, and you need the superstar, and they just don't have one.
Yeah, I mean, like again, that's another small cap, organization. You know, they're not gonna get. I understand they're not gonna get a lot of superstars or
Hmm.
talented guys, but I mean, they got some good guys. Maybe they can try to trade, and maybe they can try to trade Bill and get a superstar or something. But
Exactly.
it's just difficult for a superstar to try to go to DC. I mean, what the hell is in DC besides the White House? So, um,
Exactly.
yeah,
There's like nothing really there. So,
there's
again,
nothing there, man.
like this is going to be a little bit small topic. That's why I'm adding it on to this last video. But let us know in the comment section down below, everybody. What do you guys make of Bradley Beal season ending early? Do you guys think that this is gonna be a sure sign for the Wizards being able to sign him back, or do you think that it's over and the Wizards should be looking on to move on and get someone else? Let us know in the comment section down below. And as much as I would love to keep talking, Tyrese, as much as I would like to continue the stream, I am not going to lie to you. I am pretty tired, and
Yeah,
and I'm sure you are as well.
yeah,
Long day for both of us, but we're definitely going to get back on the show and talk about other breaking news. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be a huge no for me. I got some basketball stuff that I need to do, but Thursday and Friday I think should be a little bit more open. So be on the lookout for a live stream. My boy Pete should be coming on as well, so Pete will be joining us, Tyrese,
hey,
at some point. Hopefully, either Thursday or Friday. We're gonna still talk about it. Still working out the details. But
okay.
let us know in the comment section down below, guys. What do you guys want us to talk about this Thursday and Friday? I know the big one that I'm seeing here from Real GM is, of course, the 76ers strongly believe that James Harden won't resign with the Nets, and of course that there's absolutely a chance of James Harden Ben Simmons trade happening between those two teams. We will keep you updated here on the Charge. What's going to be going on for these trades? Because I feel like a trade is coming very, very soon.
Yeah, very soon. Even
Um,
Russell Westbrook, I feel one's coming for him.
Exactly. Nets explore Joe Harris trade options. You also got Celtics maybe getting Dante DiVincenzo. Um, Again, there's a lot of
Eric
stuff that,
Gordon.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could happen in this couple of days leading up to, I believe, let me see when the trade deadline is. I believe it is Friday.
I thought it was tomorrow
Or is
at
it tomorrow?
12.
Or is it
At
tomorrow at
12,
12?
3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific.
So let's see here. So is at 12 tomorrow?
Yeah, it's at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And then it's over. So it should be a lot of movement tonight.
Oh,
Um,
here we go. Let me just
oh
make
yeah.
sure. Or maybe it might be the 20. It might be the 10th. So in 2 days.
Oh, okay. It's the 10th. Okay. I thought it
Yeah,
was the.
February 10th. So we got till Thursday. So definitely Thursday, whatever happens, we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what's going on. And again, guys, I do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into The Charge, bringing the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Tyrese, thank you once again for joining us on the stream tonight. It's always a pleasure talking basketball with you. And
Yeah, no
we'll make
problem.
sure to get back on really soon, either Thursday or Friday, and then hopefully for sure the weekend, and just talk about basketball as we look forward to Super Bowl Sunday, of course.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that as well. And we'll definitely get on the live stream and talk about what's definitely going on in this league right now. It's definitely crazy. But nevertheless, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. The more likes, the more subscribers, the more this channel grows. And again, I keep saying that because I want this channel to grow. We're at 765 subscribers. Beautiful people, thank you so much for subscribing. Looking forward to that magic 1,000 number. We didn't get it last year, but this year is going to be our year. And of course, it comes down to us making content and making sure that we have stuff out there available and ready for you from here on out. But with that being said, thank you once again for joining us here on The Charge, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.